Smith, Extension Field Crops Pathologist for the University of Wisconsin-Madison. As we get ready for the 2020 field season, you're probably also prepping your electronic decision tools. This might include Sporecaster, our smartphone app for white mold and soybean. I'd like to just walk you through a little bit on how Sporecaster works and also show you some of the newest updates that we've introduced into the tool. Once we click on Sporecaster, when you come to this the first time this season, we can set up a new field just like we have in the past, where we'll start by inserting our field name. In this case, we'll just call this Damon 2 as our field. We'll look at also the other questions that we have to answer, which include row spacing. So you need to tell us which spacing your soybeans are planted on and whether you plan to irrigate or not. I'm going to go ahead and choose actually no in this case. And as you can see, the smartphone actually knows exactly where we're standing. But you could also move the map around and actually drop a pin if you're setting up your fields from, say, your office or something like that. So we'll go up here and we'll drop a pin up here in the town of Dane. We'll hit done and done again. And now that field is saved in our field list. So let's go back into that Damon 2 field. You'll notice one new change here in 2020 is that we've allowed you to actually move the action threshold around a little bit. We do default to 30%, so if you don't have any prior knowledge about the level of white mold in a particular field, go ahead and leave it at that 30%. But if you know that you have higher or lower pressure and want to move that action threshold around a little bit, we do allow you to do that. You also have to answer some questions about flowers being present and our row closure in order to turn the app on to get an actual forecast. We're going to cheat today and say, yes, we have flowers present. And we'll answer this row closure question by actually indicating over a threshold. And you can see we include some images there to show you what is over and under threshold. We'll go ahead and choose over. We'll hit run model. And you'll notice that the model is showing us inactive for today. And that's because the 30-day average high temperatures have been below 50 degrees and the app simply won't run. Let's go back though, and we can actually run risk index back in time. So let's go back to July 14th, 2019. We'll go ahead and run model for that location. You can see that we actually had a high risk in this particular field at that time. So what that means is we're up above that 30%. If a fungicide had not been applied, we have flowers present, we've met that row closure, then a fungicide would be recommended at that time based on the risk. Now, a couple of things you should note, we do have this field refresh auto option. If you click this toggle, this will actually turn auto refresh on for 14 days. So if you actually go back to your field list, you'll see that there's this little revolving circle icon indicating that the refresh option has been chosen. So what this does is if you come to your field list for any given day and you're keeping track of multiple fields at a time, you can actually grab the list, snap it down, pull it up, and it'll actually auto run the forecast for all those fields where that option has been chosen. Now note, this can give you abnormally high risk or false positive. You'll notice this particular location, the South Lima location in South Lima, New York, April 14th, which is today, we have high risk, and that's because we cheated and it assumes that there are flowers present and the row closure has been met. And clearly that wouldn't be the case at that particular location. So you do need to be a little careful with the snap to refresh option there. Some other interesting tools that can be used, way down at the bottom, you'll see there's that map option. If you click on that, that'll actually show you where you have various points set on your map. You can actually look at those all at the same time. There are question marks right now because we're out of season and there isn't much risk at this time, but you can scroll in and those bubbles will start to separate and you can see the latest risks, and you'll notice my Damon 2 location right there at 0, which is what we ran today on our snap to refresh. So you could set your fields up across a large landscape and actually look at those locations in a map view and scroll in and out and see what the actual risk is on the fly. A couple other things to also look at. If you go into your fields, you could actually click on this history tab up at the top, get all the past runs for that particular field location. Or you could even email all that information to yourself in an attached CSV file. So we allow that option So if I wanted to do some things in the office in Excel and actually look at some of the data and plot that out, I could send this CSV file to myself and convert it to an Excel file and do some data manipulation on that file as well. And if you have any other questions about white mold in general, feel free to visit badgercropdoc.com or visit your local extension as well.